conference, Sustainability of Youth Organization and Post-Pandemic Period. The conference is organized with Youth Hub Vessel Balkan and Turkey Network with financial support by European Commission. My name is Bojana Jeftović. I'm a manager of Youth Hub Vessel Balkan and Turkey Network, and I will be the moderator during the regional panel. We are all facing a global health crisis, but this is a much more than health crisis. It's a human, economical, and social crisis as well. The coronavirus affects all segments of the population and in particularly harmful to members of these social groups in the most vulnerable situation, such as people in poverty situation, older people, persons with disabilities, young, etc. For the first time, we are in a crisis that also affects all of us on a private and professional level. During the previous year, we had to do a lot of changes, adaptation, and we as a network believe that now it's the right time to start a dialogue, discussion about lesson learned, what we have done well, but as well what we can improve in the future period. The fact that today we have over 150 participants show two things. First, how important this topic is for all of us. What we must start, that we really must start with discussion as soon as possible at all levels, local, national, regional, but EU level as well. On another hand, that we have really amazing panelists today with us, both in a regional as well in all 5 national panels, willing to openly discuss about current situation and with the power to make changes. Have that in mind, I would first of all, I would like to thank all panelists for help and support in creation the program of this conference. I really don't want to spend too much time because we have really amazing people today with us. And before I start with presentation of the panelists, I want to invite my dear colleague Aida Perovic from Montenegro to welcome you and to shortly present the network and why this is so important for us. Aida, can I invite you to take, instead to invite you to take a floor, to take a Zoom for a few minutes. Just to check, Aida, are you with us? We have some kind of the sound. We have a really problem to hear you. Can you just check? Sorry, Aida, we don't hear you. Then I'm sorry. I hope that Ida will join us maybe later, that we can find solution for this. I will use my moderator skills and try to step in for a bit. We are a network of 20 youth organization. A long time ago, in 2016, 5 of national organization from Serbia, Montenegro, Albania, North Macedonia, and Turkey joined together and discussed about different kind of problems and realized that we have a quite a similar economical, historical, political environment. We decided it's a really great time to join together and to develop the network. So we have Prima from Montenegro, Partners Albania from Albania, Mladiinfo from North Macedonia, Community Voluntary Foundation, Top Foundation from Turkey, and Vlade Divac Foundation from Serbia. We joined together and decide to little bit invest our energy to find a bit more about research, the position of the young people in our region, try to develop comparative, comprehensive research of youth position in all of our country. Based on that, a long time ago, we developed the first unique methodology for measuring participation of youth in our region. It's called Youth Participation Index, where we are trying to measure situation in 3 dimensions: economical, social, and political participation of young people, not just to measure, but as well to compare it between us, which is the unique research provide this kind of opportunity, as well to compare to EU level and situation in EU countries. After that, we have 15 more organizations, the small and medium-sized organizations from our country. We try to invest our time in improving the local, but as well the national youth policies in our country. Starting from 2020, we have a new project which is called Employ Youth. Based on results from Youth Participation Index, we realized that one of the biggest issues in all of our country is the need youth unemployment. It's a really huge difference between need rate between our country and EU countries. On another hand, we realized it's quite a really difficult situation with young people who are coming from vulnerable groups. So social inclusion in our country, especially the data, the youth-sensitive data related to the vulnerable groups are missing in most of our country. So this was the 2 main pillars which we are going to focus in the next period. And based on that, we developed youth employment project. And the main focus is how to provide help to young people who are coming from vulnerable groups and how to help them to find a job and improve their employability. So we hope that in the next 2 years, we have opportunity to invite at least 50 more of youth organizations who are working at a local level with young people, especially need young people. So I hope that I will not talk too much. I can of course explain really lot about all of the different aspects. But I think this is the main of information. Aida, you are with us now. I step in and I say something more, but I will give opportunity to say a few words more about the network and just to say hello to all other participants and our colleagues who are right now with us on this conference. You need to unmute the most common sentence. Yeah, can you unmute yourself?
Yeah. I just noticed that I was muted. So don't be sorry. I want to say thank you because for 5 years, these 5 organizations have been here from each other, and we supported each other all the time. Beside the research, beside the policy initiatives and everything we are pushing towards the government, all our efforts, I think that great product of this network is our partnership, and that we became really friends, not just business partners, let's say. So thank you that you jump in for the part I was in charge of.
Thank you, Aida, so much. This was a really long journey, and it still is continue. And we are really proud on the result of our network. So I'm just continue with further with conference and with our panelists. We are particularly pleased that during the regional panel we have opportunity to speak with representatives of really the most important EU and regional institution organization. So today we have an opportunity to discuss with Ms. Lylot Isaacson from DJ NEAR, Head of Sector Civil Society and Civil Inclusion, with Ms. Silvia Ivanova, the Deputy Head of the European Youth Foundation, with Mr. Dr. Jed Mura, Executive Director of the Western Balkan Fund, with Mr. Jan Zlatan Kulenovic, the Program Director of the Regional Youth Cooperation Office, and with Ms. Tanya Hafner-Ademi, Team Leader of EU Taxo 3 in the Western Balkans in Turkey. So first of all, thank you so much. Thank you for the support and welcome. And before I give you a floor, I just want to say that during the registration, participants had the opportunity to ask the question for the regional panel. And thanks to the participants, thank you so much, because you help us in this part as well. So we have three main questions which are highlighted during the registration period. And the one is related, of course, to what are the challenges of civil society on one side, but as well, what are the challenges of donor community on another side. How to adapt all of our projects, programs, activities without losing this essential purpose of all of our programs. The second thing is the most common question, and it was, I think, quite the urgent topic right now for us as well, is financial sustainability. The civil society organization did a really phenomenal job in the field. They first provided different kind of assistance to the most vulnerable groups, starting from psychological support to the humanitarian, classic humanitarian support. And after the 1 year, the most of the organization provide this help even on a voluntary basis. So right now, the main second question is how to help small and medium-sized civil society organizations, how to help them to provide sustainability in a further period, especially in pandemic and especially in post-pandemic period. And the third question, what the most common was how to restore the dialogue. The most of our activity were focused on surviving the pandemic, surviving the causes of the pandemic. And we need to think about how to restore the different kind of the dialogue, how to restore the policy dialogue at all levels, starting from the local levels up to the EU levels, including the Berlin process and where are the civil society organization in all of these right now processes. I know it's a bit complicated and I bunched so many questions to the panelists, but I would kindly ask for the beginning, I would ask them to give us a brief overview of all of these three main questions. And at the same time, I invite my colleagues, participants, to ask the question immediately, because this is the great opportunity and we want to use it this time as much as possible. To ask the question, you can use the chat. You can ask the question in the chat, or you just can use option, raise a hand, turn on the camera and mic, and ask the question again. So I would start with Ms. Lylot Isaacson, and then we can continue with the other panels. Thank you.
Hello, and thank you, Bojana, and good morning or almost good lunch to everybody. You have a very impressive number of participants, so it's great to be here and exchange with you. So my name is Lotta Isaacson. I work in DG NEAR in the unit there that deals with regional cooperation in the Western Balkans and Turkey and regional programs, and specifically I deal with the civil society facility there, but also regional youth programs. So it's a very pertinent topic for me. I wanted to start by saying that youth as a theme and thematic and as a group of people is essential for us in the EU. And you can see that we've had a very strongly increased focus on youth in the last 5-6 years, especially. It's come up on all international agendas, all our regional agendas with the in various moments. And I think in relation to that, we've scaled up our support as well. You've seen it for sure with our Erasmus program, where we have doubled our support, but also other projects such as the the youth lab that we're implementing with the Regional Cooperation Council to engage youth in dialogues about, you know, the policies that will form their futures. Also programs such as RICO, the Regional Youth Cooperation Office, where we're supporting the organization, but also the activities of the organization, the school exchanges in particular. We've also tried to go more to the very local level in programs supporting local democracy, but also youth engagement at the local level. And now most lately with the economic investment plan we're also focusing on youth there to give youth a real opportunity to be part of the recovery in the region, which is important to make sure that youth participate in the you know, new entrepreneurship that we want to see and so on. So I think I wanted to make that as a starting point. Then coming to your question about the challenges for civil society organizations and also for donors, for sure, when the COVID crisis broke out, we were all engaged in trying to do our part in helping everybody to overcome this. And from the EU side, you probably know we did put a lot of resources first to support the IPA beneficiaries with medical equipment, for example, with support to vulnerable groups, and in this work, civil society organizations for sure were very important. In some regions, they were directly implementing activities. In the Western Balkans as well. We provided finance, for example, through the Red Cross, working in a regional network to support vulnerable elderly or people with disabilities. We have given support to, for example, UN Women, who then channel support to civil society organizations in the region to be able to scale up exactly the work that they were already doing in providing safe houses or hotlines to protect victims of the domestic violence, which unfortunately increased a lot during this period. So for sure, well, it was a difficult year for all of us, and it's not finished yet. We could see in terms of impacts on civil society organizations. We had many of our partners coming back to us and asking to change the activities. Of course, nobody could do the physical meetings that were foreseen, but I must say, I think organizations did a great job in adapting to the situation, in sort of conquering this technology that is actually there. We're used to having small problems like this, but in the end, the fact that we can today have a conference with 130 people without spending almost any CO2, I think that's a fantastic progress per se. And I've been in conferences like this where you have translation going on as well. So I think now I have somebody speaking.
I will ask Alexandra, maybe can you call participants as well? Thank you.
So I think in terms of the other question, I think people were able to adapt without losing the purpose. It's sure that COVID-19 has captured all our, a lot of our energy. And it is indeed important to come back to come back to the sort of core work that we were also doing. And I think it's true that that's also something for civil society organizations. But I think everybody appreciates the work that civil society organizations were able to do very, very often, as you say, Bojana, by voluntary work. So. In that sense, I think it will be very interesting to listen to how you all see the next steps in that regard. I think I'll stop here, and then I'll here for discussing further when we've heard all the other panelists.
Perfect, thank you so much for this introduction and the first really nice optimistic words, considering the new the window, financial window, and the strategy. So this is a really good starting position. Maybe I will kindly ask Ms. Ivanova to maybe continue, because we are still on EU level. So I think it will be the best to start with Ms. Ivanova. Welcome and thank you so much.
Thank you, Bojana, and thank you very much for inviting me to participate in this very important gathering, online gathering. Greetings from the European Youth Center in Strasbourg. So I feel like I want to say a few words about the Council of Europe first, just to make sure that we make a difference between the European Union and the Council of Europe, although we all do good work for youth organizations. Just to recall that the Council of Europe is an organization of 47 member states. And our main pillars of work are democracy, rule of law, and human rights. So it is important to recall that, because in the next of the discussion, I will not be able to talk about health. I will not be able to talk about psychological support. So this is why I wanted to recall the Council of Europe main pillars. And our work, of course, we dedicate a lot of our support and work to youth. And our youth sector is it's a very interesting and particular institution. It's a powerful one, because at the Council of Europe, the youth sector, which establishes the priorities for work with youth organizations, discuss the challenges and looks for solutions, is entirely co-managed. Co-managed means that young people, representatives from youth organizations, will sit together with representatives of national authorities responsible for youth, and they will together discuss priorities again and establish the work map, let's say. So that's a very important particularity of our youth sector and work. So I'm deputy head of the European Youth Foundation, which is an instrument of the youth sector of the Council of Europe. An instrument both in terms of providing financial means, funding, to youth organizations to support their projects, but also as a partner providing advice in terms of what good projects are and how they can be successful and more relevant for their members. In terms of challenges, I would like to mention that we asked Mrs. Isaacson, we found that youth organizations, civil society is suffering, of course. A lot of it came from projects, as it was mentioned, which were impacted by the crisis, by the restrictions of the COVID pandemic. We, in the very beginning, we launched a survey as well, the results of which showed that organizations suffered a lot from the pandemic, not only with project delays, but also they suffered from decrease of outreach and visibility. I mean, which is normal, the time they had to adapt to the online work, to call on their members, to be, how to say, as present as they wanted again. But also the lack of financial support was made clear in this survey, that in the results of this survey that we did, is that many youth organizations suffer from lack of resources which were previously provided by private or public institutions as well. So this to say that the foundation, the European Youth Foundation, the Council of Europe and the youth sector, for the moment we don't suffer for that.
Something? I beg my pardon. Can I say something? You mentioned, my name is Fatia Kolgjini and I come from Albania. I represent Women in Public Service. You were mentioning that there has been lack of resources from the state. What do you mean? In Albania, we understand this when you say that if you need to make to enter to an institution to make an activity, you need some bureaucratic procedures to be eased by the institution. Is that what you meant before? Sorry again for the interruption.
We are support really interruption. You can ask questions. So just
trying
to let the panelists finish the sentence and then ask the question. But we are completely encourage you to ask the question. Is the point of the
Thank you so much. Okay, you're welcome.
Thank you. I'm very happy to be interrupted when I'm not clear enough, and I assume that, and I try to say something more than to help. So what I meant is that we knew that in some countries, maybe because of priorities, maybe because of simply of reorganization during the crisis, some funding which was previously automatically provided to some youth organizations may be delayed or may be cancelled. I mean, we know that also youth organizations which sometimes easily take funding from private organizations now have more difficulty to do that. So it's about funding indeed. So yeah, that's in terms of challenges. I hope I actually responded to your question.
You did, thank you.
Thank you so much. So in terms perhaps just of response, I wanted to say that we tried and immediately, how to say, committed, engaged, did as much as possible to provide a solid and robust response to the crisis, to the rush. And we were flexible enough. Speaking about the foundation, for example, we immediately engaged into a more flexible relation with the organizations benefiting from funding. So we extended deadlines for implementation of projects. We put in place a consultancy service to help them reorganize and reshape projects which were impacted, so transfer them online or acquire capacities to manage meetings online. So we also with the decision, with the co-managed decision again of our decision making body, which is the Programming Committee on Youth, we also managed to increase the maximum amount of some grants that we provide. I will talk about that later. And we also managed to, for some small organizations which are suffering from with limited capacities, as you said, struggling to survive, we hope to be also helpful for them, as we will permit to include some structural costs soon in small projects that we support. So let's talk about this later. I wanted just to say that a huge amount of effort was invested from the organization, from our teams and colleagues working here to support as much as possible impacted organizations and projects. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. We know that everyone is trying to give the best possible react to all this global pandemic. So you really appreciate all of your thoughts. Now we are going to a little bit closer to the region, and I would kindly ask Mr. Mura to give us maybe the overview from Western Balkan Fund and what is the situation there.
Thank you, Bojana, and thank you for this opportunity to share with the wider audience that we have today some of our thoughts and some of our findings about this important topic that we are discussing today. I also want to thank the colleagues in the panel for their efforts and contribution. And yes, we are in a difficult and different situation that it was 1 year ago, and challenges And the problems that CSOs and especially youth organizations are facing in this period needs to be addressed. And this is a good opportunity that I am sure will help all of us to better understand the challenges and needs and to better adjust our work in the future. So COVID, with all the problematics that it has created, it's a momentum for all of us to reflect. And as we know, civil society organization and youth organization are facing substantial difficulties. In general, they are left out from government support schemes and are struggling with the impact of the pandemic on their funding, communication, and human capital. Many of them are obliged to downsize their activities to reduce human resources, and various constituencies that rely on their services are suffering the consequences. I want to inform you that 2 months ago, supported by Japanese government, Western Balkan Fund implemented a project that aims to determine the impact of COVID-19 in the overall performance of the civil society organizations in our region. And this project was focused on identifying the challenges, but also opportunities and lessons learned. And what is most important, to identify recommendations that could provide bigger sustainable support for the civil society sector. How we did it, we invited think tanks, civil society organizations, youth organizations, and individual researchers to submit research papers on the topic. And we are very glad to say that we have received an impressive number of papers through which our fund has learned, and it's getting more information about the difficulties but also opportunities of organization in the Western Balkans. We will prepare an extensive report with all the findings, but allow me also replying to the questions that you put forward to this panel that have come from the participants, to just to mention few of the findings that are coming from this report. So what are the challenges? First are delays in activities, cancellation of projects, losing touch with the beneficiaries in remote areas, lack of calls for new projects, reduced funds and inability to retain staff, decreased motivation, especially for young staff in the organizations, donor delays in decision making, big pressure on meeting goals and intensifying activities within a very short period of time, very frequent, long and time-consuming Zoom meetings, lack of long-term and impactful projects, etc. It's interesting also that some of the papers that we have received are mentioning that despite the flexibility and understanding from the donor community, when it comes to bureaucracy and reporting, there was zero reduction on the number of meetings, reporting, documentation, and other paperwork, which leaves little time to do the real work with the beneficiaries. There are also some interesting recommendations that are coming at this phase, like it's important, many of our CSOs are mentioning to establish and to adjust new emergency and crisis schemes, and to support the CSO capacity building in key areas, especially in crisis management, helping CSOs to build solidarity and to accelerate digital transformation, to assist young and youth organizations building networks and to keep the existing contacts and connections in the region, introducing long-term projects to a wider range of CSOs, and to support the establishment of new funding schemes to help the organization in these difficult times. I want to share with you that the title of one of our research papers was that we have received is we have survived the hit of the COVID crisis, but how far can we go in survival mode? It is just one sentence, but I think it says it all. When we are talking about the pandemic and the effects that it's making to the people-to-people contacts in our region, of course, they are making those very challenging. One of our concerns is that the fear of infection may create a long-term opposition to regional exchange and thus can undermine the culture of regional mobility the WBF, as other regional organizations, are trying to create and to enable. We think that donors have to step up and to prove that this is the momentum and it's the right time for supporting the regional cooperation activities. This is the time to reinforce all the ways that organizations and communities to reach each other and to create and to enforce regional cooperation spirit. This pandemic is a wake-up call for all of us to reinvent regional cooperation. And one of the recommendations that is coming from also from many of our papers that, as I mentioned, we are right now working on them, is that if we don't take now actions to adopt donor programs, the gains made in recent years could be reversed. I want to stop here for the moment, and I would kindly ask at this moment the organizers to share with us the most important findings from this event today, and also to promise that WBF will share with you our regional report as soon as it will be ready. I will stop here and ready to continue with other issues during the. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for sharing all the result of this paper. It's really valuable. Most of my colleagues, I'm quite sure they recognize in most of these challenges and problems. And I'm really happy that all of you are open and ready to openly discuss about all of these issues for us. Now we continue to Regional Youth Cooperation Office. Jan, are you with us as well? First of all, I would like to congratulate to Regional Youth Cooperation Office that you have the new Secretary General, Mr. Albert Hani. So if I'm pronouncing good. So first of all, congratulations on that. This is a challengeable time for, I say RICO, probably because there is a lot of the changes and during the pandemic, but this is a really good good moment to present a little bit about what the plans for RICO is.
Thank you, Bojana, very much. I hope you hear me, because I'm on mobile phone trying not to be again expelled from the conference. Thank you very much for invitation. Congratulations, I mean, for Network's work, especially in this hard time, and also for this initiative. I think it's very, very relevant topic on sustainability, and I see a lot of faces, familiar faces, including a lot of participants today. So let me try to be also concrete as possible, especially because other panelists already elaborated very well most of the challenges and difficulties, and I think everyone here also at this event knows on several levels how difficult is all this year. I remember on 3rd of March last year, I left Tirana just 2 hours before full lockdown, closed the borders between Albania and Montenegro. And
sorry, Jan, I will ask Alexandra to mute all participants.
I see that there is some problems with.
I'm just kindly asking Alexandra to mute all participants.
It could be that the current at the same.
Okay, okay, let me try again. Last thing I said that on 13th March I left near Tirana before lockdown. Now that we are in times, everyone knows how on a personal level it was challenging, but on different conditions as
sorry.
Of partnerships and yes.
Sorry, we have a problem right now to hear you. It was everything okay at the beginning, and now we have a really bad connection. Can you just try to speak slowly so that we can easily follow you?
Is it okay now? Sound?
Unfortunately, no.
Well, let me.
Now it's okay.
Is that fine? Okay, in case that the sound is not going to be okay again, I'll try to. Okay, this intro part was not important or so challenging, I mean, inspiring or interesting, but I just wanted to share that this year was, as everyone knows, difficult also on the personal level, but also working level on partnerships, where for RICO, the essence of the work is exactly this physical contact and exchange of young people on a regional level, and this is already, let's say, almost impossible if you don't have normal conditions. So what we did in the last year was how to tackle those challenges was to have a full transformation of around 60 grantees and local projects to support them how to revise and transfer youth exchanges in digital world, which already sounds crazy because the essence of the youth exchange is meeting of young people in live in practice, but it was very I would say also creative and inspiring challenge how to figure out different online methodologies for keeping at least the same ambitious of our objectives and objectives of our partners, and to keep as much as possible of those local projects to survive and to happen. So around 60 projects basically are finishing now, or they just finished in the end of the last year in this new, let's say, dimension and with the new methodologies. And the second thing, together with EC, we invested 330,000 euros in our autumn open call, so-called fourth open call. And I'm happy to see that in the beginning of this year, we contracted 12 regional projects that will also try to seek for effective online regional cooperation tools and ways how to keep the same mission, the same spirit of the regional youth cooperation, even in the COVID period. In the same time, I think partially the answer of today's event on sustainability goes also in exploring opportunities in the field of social entrepreneurship. Social entrepreneurship is I think so especially need in the region that is poor, that is affected on so many levels, where governments are not having enough funding or will to support social needs, including the youth and vulnerable groups. And I think one of NGO, civil society, let's call it answers, can be also with different social businesses that creates the community impact. And through our partnership with 6 local incubators, SOS Group from France and some other partners, we managed in the last year also to have RISE, Regional Incubator for Social Entrepreneurship. And at the moment, there are around 46 teams in the region which are supported by us, both on the level of capacity building, but also how these 137 social entrepreneurs through 46 business ideas can contribute also in their communities, but also in the period of pandemics, how to act based on the needs they have, both on local level, but also with that kind of regional support. So these 2 examples are showing that the mission can stay the same, but you have to be creative. And I think most of our participants felt that as a very personal and organizational challenge to transform, not to wait, to seek, to be active, to be something. The civil society is always vivid and dynamic. And I think not to say that I'm happy that we don't have this event face-to-face and something that where we can really meet. I'm not fan of these digital tools, but still, even with this conference, we are showing that there are solutions, there are concrete, let's say, measures that we can do. That doesn't help on the sustainability long-term level. And I think that during your conference, we would like also to take the chance of seeking solutions also on this, let's say, long-term, not only as ad hoc, based on circumstances in which we live. And this is very, I think, a relevant topic for today also on these national groups that you will have afterwards. And the last point, what I want to say, I mean, for this part is what Lotte mentioned. We are not stopping here. We are also focusing on a huge program for school exchanges. I think civil society, one of the questions for sustainability of civil society is also to have people and to have young people engaged with mindset of activism based also on my experience. You need to start to work from kindergarten and schools to have enough new generation interested in the youth work. Otherwise, our organizations will be empty and only for veterans, but not for real youth. And I think in this regards, this 3-year initiative that we are starting very soon, I mean, with concrete, visible actions. Now we are in preparation phase together with our partner GIZ and EC. But these school exchanges somehow will also try not only to promote regional youth exchanges and cooperation, but also to build new, let's say, teenagers and youth generation that can later on be involved or simultaneously in different youth organizations as the new force that will also support let's say, growth and sustainability of organizations. So it's not always about money, it's also about human resources, it's about environment, it's about policy, it's about lobbying, it's about being creative, and it is about not stopping. And that attitude in the Balkans, where we have that kind of stubbornness innate, is something that helps us to survive in difficult times. And I think that also that kind of creativity and jumping in the social business area is also some of the solutions that our participants today will have opportunity also to share their experiences. And Raiko is here, as you said, also with the new leadership, fully committed in the next period to work with youth organizations. And I think it will be more opportunity to talk about plans also. So for the now, I would stop here, but very, very happy to also answer some questions or discuss further with other participants.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for different overview of different way of the support. And I like that you mentioned not just the financial support, even this is the most urgent topic for a smaller organization, but I like that you know give us overview of different other support that you provide. As you talked about the different support to the civil society organization in the region, especially in Turkey as well. This is the perfect spot to invite Tanya Haftarademi to help us and maybe to give overview not just the position in the Western Balkan, but as well what are the main issue maybe with Turkey and the Turkish organization as well. Tanya, please, thank you.
Thank you, Bojana, and good day, afternoon, everyone. I'll try to be brief on Turkey, but also on other general questions that were posed, and just add to the previous panel.
I need to ask you to be just a little bit louder or too close. Perfect. Perfect.
Is that okay? So thank you very much for inviting me here. I think participants have been listening to us for quite a while, so I'll try to be short and concise and just try to add on you know the era of very important points and you know to the point comments that were made by previous speakers. But let me not first refer to Turkey, but maybe make two general points from the point of view of how we are dealing with things from the position of our project, TAXO 3, and how things look looking towards the topic that we are discussing today, sustainability of civil society and youth organizations in particular. I would maybe just through in three additional things, maybe to also then stir questions and debate. In terms of COVID-19, you know, our project, the whole essence of the project is regional cooperation, the regional training study visits. So with COVID-19 took place, this was, you know, a total switch for us, 180, if not 360 degrees. And we managed to adapt, and we're doing very much in similar ways as everybody else, and including, you know, small and civil society organizations. But I think what the key word when we look at civil society, sustainability and development is that basically COVID provides, on the one hand, yeah, it's you know, not providing, you know, it's an abrupt dissection or cut to, all of the systematic attempts in terms of civil society development, or if you look in terms of enabling environment and conditions in which civil society were both legislative, consultative process, etc. It's kind of, has cut or stopped in a way, and really, intervened with these systematic processes, and has maybe, basically pushed us back to for civil society in the mode of more survival. So I think one of the words for COVID-19 and how, how at least at the moment we have to look in some aspects to civil society that at the moment and for some time maybe it would be more about survival. That civil society cannot think about long term at the moment because it has to now cope with so many new short-term challenges and the unsustainable, unstable context in which it works. But then on the other hand, COVID all did provide opportunities, and it might sound weird, but when we look at when we as a project looked at how did civil society respond, and you will notice on our website we had so far 31 success stories published on civil society and what it was doing in reacting the first weeks, in the first months, and is still doing so to address the gaps when public institutions, municipalities were not able to kick in the basic services, humanitarian aid, but anything else, schooling, extracurriculum activities that were abruptly terminated or suspended. So in one case, for civil society, COVID is pushing them into survival on the short run, but on the other hand, it is providing for opportunities to rethink or to reapproach and to re-engage on how public civil society, institutions sees the roles of civil society. And I guess it is both to the civil society and to the institutions, especially local, national authorities, on how they, how they take this forward. Will they take this opportunity or not? And I think it is to the both sides to reconfigure that in the future. So I think there are these opposing poles or extremes where civil society is at the moment in terms of the situation, not just here in the region, Western Balkans and Turkey, but this is also a global and European level. That brings me to the second point that I wanted to throw into the discussion. That is that maybe rather than talk about sustainability of civil society or youth organizations per se, is to maybe rethink and think about of resilience. This is a concept that we have been introducing as a project when also working with Commission and how it strategically approaches civil society development in this region. Because with resilience, one is recognizing that this is not a static process. It's not like a linear process. And most importantly, because we are seeing also trends on shrinking space in this region, is that civil society can develop as much as it is working in a, let's say, in a conducive environment, an environment that is at least neutral or supportive to its development. We cannot have a situation where civil society would be able to, flourish and prosper in terms of capacities development, having a lot of employees, having a lot of funding opportunities, if we don't have, conducive environments, if they're not able to express themselves, if there are not a lot of opportunities to get funding in transparent manner, in a fair procedures, they're not able to participate to consultative processes. So these processes, what we're trying to do is to, reconfigure how we think about civil society development. And it's very important because it's then, a whole different approach to how one considers civil society development. And then brings me to another point. One of the activities or one of the tasks that our project has is also to do annual monitoring or assessment of well, civil societies in terms of, again, conditions in which it works and its capacities. And one of the things we also look at, and this was one of the questions that were posed to the speaker panels in the beginning, was, voluntarism. And in terms of volunteering, and I think youth organizations are mostly associated, with volunteering and being able to engage youth, especially not just adults, but youth, in being volunteers in their organization or for a certain cause in their community. So I think also talking about resilience on sustainability of your organization is also important to talk about their contribution to volunteerism, which is immense. And when we look at that, one of the lessons learned that we have had as a project is this. I mean, when you look at the regulatory framework, like when you look at the laws and the bylaws in the countries of the Western Balkans and also Turkey, in Turkey even less, the laws and the bylaws are not stimulating, or there are administrative, let's say, hurdles or unclarities and uncertainties of how civil society can engage with volunteers. In most countries, it's not forbidden. I mean, in Turkey, it is in some cases considered an illegal employment, but organizations have found a way to go about around that in order to be able to engage volunteers. But still, let's say the public institution, the institutions are not very much in at the moment active on these topics. And I know youth organizations are trying to also lobby for this. But what I think is important is our region is to maybe more focus. And I think here your organization have also an immense contribution so far, but they can do so much also in the future, is the contribution in terms of changing the culture and mentality, why to volunteer, and why this is important in person's individual development, that this is experience, invaluable experience that makes a person employable, so it has a skill set that can be later used for their advancement, for their employment, or whatever they want to achieve and realize in their world, in their lifetime. So this is very important thing. I see the role of youth organizations in particular in promoting the culture of volunteerism, but of course as an important ally in improving the regulatory framework, although the regulatory framework per se is not going to bring about. So changing the culture and raising awareness via volunteering and having successful stories and projects about volunteering is crucial. So these are kind of the main three things that I wanted to say about our project. And I think, this panel is also about, giving all the participants here, organizations throughout the region, some cues on, how, let's say, our project can be useful to that. Taxo project has been around for quite a long time, a whole decade. It's in third phase. Maybe particularity in this phase is that we are more focused on regional activities, and we have we organize country-specific activities here, primarily trainings or exchange events where this is needed to fill the gaps when there is not a particular national project and program in that particular area. But otherwise, we very much maintain on the regional, or at least the regional dimensions of things, so that we bring in knowledge or experience from different countries in the region or from Europe and the global world. What one should know about Taxo is that it is a project, so it's a time limited. This current phase is going to end at the end of this year. Secondly, youth as a target group or youth organizations are not maybe the main target group. So because Taxo is about civil society development and civil society organizations as a general term and as a general target group. But nevertheless, when we look at what we are doing as a project and what we are planning to do, one sees that actually we are including a youth and issues that youth organizations are interested in, and youth in particular is interested in as a cross-cutting issue. And this is very important because the youth is the future volunteer, is the future employee, is the future activist, and most importantly, maybe, is the future decision maker. So it's very important that we work with, let's say, with the next generation of leaders and the next generation of activists, or at least try to give a contribution in that. Having said that, you should also know the Taxo project cannot fund activities, so it doesn't have a grant opportunities, but what we do is everything else. We provide non-financial support or technical support. So we organize trainings, we support selected events of civil society themselves if they fit within our program, which is the people-to-people program, as it is called. So basically, we can offer to you all here present, to participate to our capacity development activities if they're of interest and relevance to your organization. And also we are able to, offer if your activity, but that's an activity, not a project, is, in line with our program, in our people-to-people program, we can support a particular event. And we have done so. And looking to, the issues that youth organizations work on in our region, in the beginning of a pandemic, we worked with the South European Network in delivering digital and ICT tools training in June and July to help civil society, move to remote work. And then we offered, several other activities where COVID-19 related and where we would have youth organizations involved, and that we held a training on volunteering and volunteering practices is improving volunteering management in Albania. That was held in November.
Yeah.
And last week we just finished off a child rights related training for organizations that deal with children and children related issues, as well as directly held a training with children, recognizing the importance of this target group for the work. And here I'll stop, Bojana. I just
Thank you.
want to say that we also, among the success stories that I mentioned, we published a number of success stories of what youth organizations or youth informal groups have done during the COVID pandemic. And I will in the next couple of minutes share in the chat the links to this information we have on our website and opportunities. So whomever is interested to find more and to use the opportunities that our project offers to contact us and to get informed. Thank you very much for your patience, and of course I'm here available to answer any question and to give any additional information. Thank you very much.
No, thank you so much. This is the reason why we invite you, to help us of this a lot of information to, to spread and to inform us. And I know it's like we have a lot at the beginning. We have some technical issues, so I will be kindly ask all participants to addition 10-15 minutes to this panel, and the good side that we have really 5 panelists, amazing 5 panelists. There is a lot of things that you want to ask. On the other hand, we never have enough time to ask everything what we need. So I need again ask my colleague to mute all of the participants. Sorry, thank you. And before, maybe I want to ask, is there some of the participants who want to step in, raise the hand, or ask something as a last question, as the last round of the question for the panelists?
May I?
Yes.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for this opportunity again. I was presented once because I interrupted, if I can say so, Miss Ivanova. My name is Fetia Kolgjini and I come from Albania. I represent the organization Women in Public Service. In Albania, it's called Gratë në Shërbim Publik. I am a youth coordinator for girls and youth at rural communities in account of Women in Public Service, Gratë në Shërbim Publik. And my kind of question was this. We have noticed that donors open calls for a limited time and certain themes, but from the other side, the girls that live in rural communities need actually for more support for other for a wide range of themes to be treated, and of course counseling, since they come from this community. They definitely need psychological counseling, for example, because they are really attached to bullying and also violence in the families, because they're very teenagers and they have to, like, at a very young age, treat it and learn how to do houseworks, to go to a new family, which is the expecting family, like to be married. What we actually do with these girls is that our youth organization consists on empowering women, girls, and youth through education. So we want that this vicious circle, like growing up and being educated to go to your husband at a very young age, to break this circle and to bring them into education and empower them to become independently, financially women. So my question was that during this pandemic period of time, I know there are lows, ups and downs.
Yeah, sorry, I need to ask you to be short and concrete as much as possible.
Sure. Yeah,
other panelists to ask the question if there are some more questions. Sorry, thank you.
You're welcome. Yes, we're having the lack of the lack of donations, and with limited themes, because girls need different, like lot of more other themes, and of course counseling. This was my question.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Ms. Ivano. I will give you the words. Just I want to, before I give the last word to panelists, I want to check with other participants as well. Is there some more additional question that we can ask at the end? You can ask, like, just raise a hand or just turn off the mic. It's completely okay. Because I would, of course, I'm using this moderation role, and I will add, of course, a question. One for me was quite interesting is it possible to maybe organize some institutional grants for smaller and medium-sized organization? In meaning it's going to provide them more funds for salaries, for other sustainability program which are not needed to be innovative, or just need other classic projects which we are applying. And is there maybe just a third question to add, of course, is maybe some kind of information regarding the Berlin process, and are we going to have any kind of possibility to join this process in the future? What's going to happen considering the whole global pandemic situation? You can freely start. We can use the same line. Ms. Leifert, maybe we can start from you again.
Okay, thank you very much, and thank you also to the panelists for all the interesting comments that were made. Yeah, I'm happy to answer this. I think the first question in relation to resources for women and girls, I think it's really clear, you know, that gender equality is an underfinanced area, and there is a need to do much more here for sure. And of course, the perspective shouldn't be that this is a donor financed activity. The perspective must be that, you know, at all governmental levels, that there is a sufficient budgeting for this kind of activities. And what we do then as donors is trying to promote that. We can support, you know, gender-based budgeting. We can support innovative activities for, you know, economic activities for women, which is sort of a step to show that there are other roles that women can play. And we can do as we did now during COVID. We can scale up our support also to services for vulnerable women and so on. And we will continue very much in that work. I think gender is quite very strongly actually on the EU agenda. Our president, as you know, has put forth a new gender strategy, and we've put forth a new strategy for gender in the external relations as well. So I think we're going to work a lot, but I think that the point is really one has to get, this is not a donor activity per se, it's to get this to you know, those responsible for providing these resources and so on. And then on the question, I can take also perhaps the question on institutional grants that you asked, Bojana, that we for sure will continue to support civil society in the next financing period, now that we're moving into this new financial framework for 2021 to 27. There will be a new civil society facility, which will be working in a similar way as before. So there will be a mix of projects. Some will be these open calls for proposals that you have both at the bilateral level, run by our delegations, and then run by ourselves at headquarters in Brussels. We always have this balancing act between what we call operating grant and action grants. And there are let's say, competing needs from civil society organizations. And unfortunately, there's a competition between having predictability, which we can provide through our so-called action grants. These can be 4 years long, so it gives a good foresight for those organizations who receive it. Unfortunately, where our rules are just such that we cannot give these institutional grants, they're always 1 year. So it means you don't get the certainty that you will have the resources there. And we felt that it's more important for organizations to have the predictability of the, of support rather than, this rather more complete freedom in terms of use. But we're looking into ways of still providing also operating grants through, for example, through use of partnership agreements, which are being developed more so far by some of our delegations who are trying this out. But you will not get away from the problem of short-term financing in that way. But we're always looking for the best ways of doing this. And for sure, our sub-granting approaches are also allowing more organizations to access our resources. And very much with the help of TAXO, our technical assistance program that also assists organizations in actually knowing how to apply to our projects, how to complete the application forms and understanding what it is that we're asking for. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Ms. Isaacson. It was a really great input. It's a little bit for a stronger and bigger organization, this opportunity funding is, but still it's quite important that we are seeing that the Erasmus program is quite bigger and it's available for different size of organization. Ms. Ivanova, would you like to continue?
I like to continue very much indeed. Thank you. I think it's very interesting what colleagues from the European Commission said, and our friends from Erasmus Plus. We work closely with them because we cross each other, or actually find each other together on some projects where we provide co-funding, basically. Now, when it comes to short-term financing, I think that Fethiye, you will find perhaps a good partner for you in the face of the European Youth Foundation. If you are a youth organization, which means that you are an NGO, non-governmental organization, which is led by young people, which works for young people and with young people. If you are this, or whoever of the participants, if you are such youth organization, you can apply for registration, kind of become friends with the European Youth Foundation. Once you're given this access to the European Youth Foundation, you can apply for funding. And this is, I think, very interesting. We have a very interesting program, which is called Pilot Activity Program. And through this program, we provide funding grants to activities which are developed and implemented by small organizations, local or national non-governmental youth organizations. The grants, as I mentioned at the beginning, with the COVID and with the decision with the COVID challenges, following the COVID challenges, and with the decision of the programming committee, we managed to raise up the maximum amount of grants to a pilot activity to 15,000 euros. It is an important amount, especially for some countries like countries in the Western Balkans. The pilot activity, very shortly, is an activity which should respond to a challenge or a need faced by young people at local level. What you say, local or national level, what you say about your girls is very much can very much fit into the into this how to say framework, especially because it's a part of it's one of the priorities of the Council of Europe Youth Sector work, and it is one of the priority mean that equal priorities as others. So you can apply for pilot activity grants 5 times. I mean, you can apply for pilot activity grants during the whole year. We organize the so-called cut-off dates, where we stop receiving, I mean, we start treating applications because there is an important assessment process and decision-making process to approve a grant. So these cut-off dates are 5 during the year. The last one was 28th of February. The next one is 30th of May. The following one will be in September and another one in December. So you can apply during the year with a project and try to get 15,000 euros for a pilot activity. They are a set of criteria, which are core criteria and that you have to respect. What is interesting is that once you are registered with the EYF and you apply for funding, you enter into communication with my colleagues at the foundation. So they help you clarify issues which are not clear in your application. They make you reflect on missing parts or how you can improve your application. At the end of the day, at the end of the process, a programming committee take care of taking a decision whether or not you receive a grant. You can receive a grant. Your application can be rejected if it is a not good one, but you can always reapply with another. Or there is another case where your application can be, you can be invited to resubmit the application if we see that you can make it better, and we give you, and the programming committee gives you a chance to resubmit it. So if you are a very good organization, creative, strong initiatives, you can apply, as I said, 5 times per year for 50,000 euros each time. This is for the pilot activities. I will be brief because we don't have too much time. But you can, you can go to the website of the EYF and look at other grant opportunities. Now to come back to the structural funds, to the structural, as Lotte mentioned, operational. We from very in few weeks, it will be from 30th of May, we will be able to cover within the pilot activities structural costs, but of small organizations like salaries, like rent of room, but this should be related to a project. So we can't just provide funding to subsistence or existence of our organization. You have to have a project, and then they will be based on concrete, how to say, direct costs. So you will have to demonstrate, to prove that. But we have for that financial rules, and I'm sure that you can find them on the website as well. So good luck. I'm really pleased to be able to promote this cooperation with the foundation. I know the foundation is well known in the Balkans, in the Western Balkans, but still we are open to new friends. Thank you.
Perfect. So thank you so much. We literally have 5 more minutes, and I'm really sorry that I need the rest of the panelists kindly asked to be extraordinarily short. And I'm really sorry that we don't have more time, because this is a really rare opportunity to have this amazing panelists with us. But Mr. Mura, can I ask you just shortly, you know, to refer maybe to this question? I'm sorry to push you.
Yes, and I will be short. First, I want to congratulate with the young lady. If I am correct, her name is Fetia. So really, what she is doing, it's amazing. Congratulations, and and thank you also for your passion and your because it's really important what you are doing. Yes, what I would say is also from this conversation that we are having today, you can understand that there are possibilities for funding. What you are saying about donations sometimes is difficult, and as Madame Isaacson mentioned, it's not a donor activity per se, but still there are possibilities. I want to say that where is a will, there is always a way. We are flexible, so please you can contact us to know better what you are doing and which are the possibilities for future cooperation between ourselves. Now, regarding the institutional grants, yes, it's true, especially in this situation. Institutional grants are much needed, and we as a donor organization, we have also to, in a certain way, to be more flexible and to try to fit our programs with the needs of our potential recipients. So also in this respect, there are possibilities, but what is most important is all of us, we have to understand, we need to prepare ourselves. We need to write down the needs in the best way and the way that a potential donor can also justify the funding of those activities. And yes, these are my answers. I know that it's a process. I'm very glad to be here today to also to hear and to listen to the problematics or different problematics, and also to tell to the to our participants, yes, the possibilities are there, and we need to cooperate better together, to contact each other in a more institutionalized way. And yes, that's it. Please, you can continue to contact us. We are in the region. We are more flexible. So from that perspective, we are ready to support future activities. Thank you.
I'm muted again. Okay, that's good. Technical support is working. Thank you, Mr. Murat, so much, and thank you for being open so much that the organization can join and ask. Jan, you are still with us. That's great. Can I ask you from your side as well? Answer the questions.
As we don't have a lot of time, let me try in this Twitter way of just listing a few things. One, I think for sustainability also, what we heard today, one of the aspects is very important is information. Information means who, where, what is offering, doing, where are the opportunities, etc. So I can already announced that in RICO we will try to also provide a new platform for informing youth organizations and working with youth organizations and students of faculties of journalism to support that information flow on different opportunities, especially in the field of regional youth cooperation. Second, in 2022, not only leadership of RICO is changing, but also we will start very soon with the process of the new strategy 2022-2024, which should be adopted in the end of this year. So I can already call all other youth organizations in the region to pay attention, and when we open opportunities for consultations, it will be very useful, important, and relevant to hear not only about these needs assessment, but also about ideas where RICO should focus in this 3-year period, 22-24. Third, we during I mean this year, because one of the questions was about Berlin process, we are negotiating with the German Ministry of Foreign Affairs to see possibility how to have a side event in Berlin this year in July. There are not too many details right now, but the original idea coming from Rajko is that definitely there is need of having a regional youth forum, not only for exchange of those ideas, but also with a little bit more emphasized action point, what exactly would be, let's say, key actions and priorities for the young people and regional cooperation in the Western Balkans 6. So let me at this moment say that it is in the process of planning together with the German ministry, and I hope very soon we will have more details to share how those let's say processes can be inclusive enough, and how youth organizations' positions can be really emphasized, and even some of the conclusions from today's conference. And the fourth one, I already mentioned some other tools. Very soon, hopefully, the epidemiological situation will be better. We are launching for the first time with 6 local partners, also Route WB6 exchange of volunteers platform, and we will fund around 400 volunteers, hopefully during the summer, to exchange basically physically through different projects. And there will be space, and like Fethiye and others mentioned also on the level of applying to one small call with your summer camps activities for volunteers that can be supported by Rajko and Root project. And I think also that kind of volunteering power and some PR that you can do around your volunteer activities, and having external volunteers from the region is not, let's say, the most useful thing that will change everything in life of one youth organization, but can be also interesting experience how to gain new networks, and how to experience also working on community level with different international volunteers. So for those who are already experienced, it will be good opportunity, and for those who never practiced anything like that as activity, there will be also some funds and some capacity building to support you for that kind of activities. So this is very concrete youth platform, voluntary exchange, Berlin process that should be open, and the new strategy where we would like to see youth organizations from the field, exactly as you are doing at the conference, how to put on agenda priorities for Rajko, because Rajko, as you know, is officially
We lost Jan. We lost you. Yeah, okay.
For 6 governments, and I think it be used also from your side of youth organizations. Thank you very much for invitation once again.
Thank
and looking
you.
forward to see also conclusions and recommendations from afternoon.
Okay, sorry, Jan, for interrupt you. I mean, we are really out of the time. Tanya, you have literally 1 minute. I'm sorry for this. Do you want to just say goodbye to the colleagues and panelists for the end?
No problem. I mean, I already said a lot about taxa, and in the chat I shared the link so everybody can check.
We will send to the participants as well.
Yes, and trainings and the publication, and we're always available at our contact points. But I'm happy to hear, about the challenge coming from very, very local level that was put before us, and I think this is how the dialogue needs to continue between, international donors and big projects to work on this really maybe from a very top level. But actually being able to offer concrete opportunities and support to organizations that are really local with concrete problems on the ground. So thank you very much. at contact.tax.eu and see the opportunities we offer, or contact us on our email address. We're open for opportunities. And thank you very much for giving the possibility for our project to be present here and offer our opportunities. Thank you.
Thank you, Tanya, so much for the all support. We are out of the time. I am really huge thank you to all the panelists. It was a really pleasure to have you all. We definitely will send all the link that you provide to us. We will send to the participants, all registered participants. We have 10 minutes break right now to reset a little bit, to have a small break, and then we continue with the 5 parallel national panels. If you have any kind of a problem with the platform, what we realize, colleagues will send email to registered participants with all the links, Zoom links, and meeting ID, so that you can access to the panels that way as well. Thank you again, everyone, and see you in 10 minutes. Bye. And just short technical information, you just need to leave this meeting, close this Zoom, and go to the platform and choose the panel, the national panel. The second option, you will receive the email on email as well, the links to the national panels. Thank you so much, and see you in 10 minutes.
Also, we shared the link in the chat of our national
panels.
Conferences panels. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
See you. Bye.
See you.
Thank you. Bye.